You ready?
Is the mic on? Or the mic's on?
The mics are on.
So are me and Curtis sharing this mic?
Yeah, because you're gonna be like.
Back and forth?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're sharing. Those are just for show.
Comedy. You guys ready? After Hours at Rollerland with Nick and CJ special guest Curtis Hamill. Ready? 3, 2.
Are we live? We're live?
We're live.
Episode 3, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to After Hours with Nick and CJ. Special guest Curtis Hamill. Curtis, go ahead and introduce yourself to the wonderful people watching. We did a little Spitfire round before we ended our last podcast, but talk to people.
I'm Curtis. Don't all say it at once, all right? I know which one is
I know
funny.
he's
Weird.
He's starstruck right now. He's starstruck.
Just tell us who you are. If nobody knows who you are, just tell them what's your name, what you do, occupation.
I'm Curtis. I'm a local business owner, own Postal Connections in Atwater, just next door neighbor to Merced. Yeah, I grew up around Merced, and that's me.
Okay, all right. Short and sweet, we like it. But before we get started with the thing, I kind of got in trouble with last episode, and
Explain yourself, sir.
CJ kind of put out there about my hockey world and all that stuff, but I didn't give a correct shutout to all my West Coast guys, all right? So, to all my West Coast guys that are up in Washington, all right? Bill
Hi.
Mihey,
Hello.
Shane Inlow,
Thanks for
Raleigh,
the compliment, Bill.
you know,
I appreciate that one.
my boy Dylan, you know, all my West Coast boys up there, you know, hey, this is for y'all, all right? So just so you know, shout out to them, okay? So, yeah, fuck that East Coast bullshit. My bad. I should have stuck with the West Coast, but yeah. And on to all my Indian guys. Yeah, didn't forget about you guys though. All right, GB, Manny,
You
Sonny.
gotta clarify that.
Yeah.
statement there,
So
but
all my hockey boys here.
Really gotta
They're in
get
the Bay Area.
clarification there.
So yeah. So a little shout out to you guys too. So yeah, back to you guys though. Sorry, I had to do a little shout out. I got in trouble.
yeah, he gave you.
Wait, remember you got a punchable face.
I do have a punchable face. He said I'm too cheerful, so I'm gonna try to bring that down just a little bit.
Yeah.
Serious. I got the mutton chops. I gotta portray what the mutton chops represent. So
All right, sounds good. You know, I can give you a free haircut with that if you like.
I like my hair. Curtis, do you like my hair?
That's a no.
I mean, I don't know what answer you're looking for here, but
A truthful one.
I mean,
It's fucking horrendous, but we're
I
gonna leave it
wouldn't
at
grow
that.
my hair that long.
I just
So that's
like it.
me.
That's you.
So anyway, we're here with episode 3, hanging out with our, like I said, our special guest Curtis Hamill and all that stuff. But Curtis is one of our local rink rats here in Merced at Rollerland, where we own.
Hold on, real quick. Me and Curtis are sharing a mic, so if it takes the questions just a bit to get across, it's because we're going back and forth. Just gotta make sure that people understand that, because you had mic problems last episode.
Hey, nobody cares. Nobody cares
I
that you're
care.
sharing a mic.
I care about the content. I care about the effort that we're putting into this.
Feel free, you know, to buy some more mics if you like.
I will, as soon as I get back, because we're doing this one episode.
I'm
before I
gonna
leave.
have to do an episode by myself.
Who's gonna be on?
You know, it's gonna be killer. I don't even know yet. I might have to bring in a couple guests just so I can have a.
You need to bring in some fillers. to fill
Yeah,
the
I
seats.
mean, I'm gonna have to bring in some subs because you're gonna leave me high and dry. Right, Curtis?
I don't know. I have no opinion. I would just like to
No
say
comment.
they actually would be one more episode ahead of this. But
No,
somebody,
you
I
can't
won't
you
name
can't talk about
names.
that. You can't talk about that. Nick had you sign an NDA. Can't talk about
that's
that.
why I'm not gonna name any names, but somebody lost video. you know,
Yeah,
so.
fucking tech guy. I had to fire that guy and
then
hire a
rehire
new
him.
guy, just so we can get these episodes correct. So, but
Anyways,
we're not
let's-
gonna drop that guy's name. It's done and over with, all right? So we do have multiple setups, just so you know. We got the live stream, we got recording with a phone, and then we even got a GoPro going that dies like super quick. So
Now the GoPro, ladies and gentlemen, gives you a quick snap of what the podcast is about. I saw a comment on one of our,
oh yeah.
yeah, so I answered to that.
Oh, what was that?
The comment is that the person didn't understand what this was about, and she couldn't really make out what we were saying. But I had to inform that person that this was just a short reel of what our podcast is about.
Oh, okay.
And it's to entice them to come check us out on YouTube,
Okay.
which at the beginning of the reel it stated that.
Aren't you glad that Curtis had us turn on the comments, to make sure that we knew what we were doing?
Yeah, and it took me a bit of time to figure that one out.
Oh, wait, hold on.
Are we
Curtis.
not? Is our comments still turned off?
I believe so.
No,
You're
no,
no.
I'm pretty sure they're
I-
not.
We're about to find out.
Oh,
If
here's
our
Remember
comments
the other
are
day.
if our comments are still turned off, it's going to take me another hour and a half, like last time, to try to figure that out.
Yeah. This young generation can't figure shit out. So.
Well, they give you so many different directions to go to. It's confusing. Oh, we're on it live right now. We're
Yeah.
watching our own podcast on our podcast right now.
he's looking at the other episode to see if
I was trying to find it.
there was comments on those. I'm pretty
There's
sure
comments
there
on
is.
that one.
Aren't they? Or no? Am I
Yeah.
wrong?
Yeah.
No words?
Nothing.
Are we betting $1?
Oh, there's comments on
Oh,
that
there's
one.
Oh,
one more
nice.
time, please.
Hold on.
Oh,
One more time.
I'm holding on.
Oh, comments are turned off.
Our second video,
Video
our comments
proof.
are turned off,
Well, that's the tech guy's fault.
which he was fired.
Yeah.
Nick just stated that. But anyways, let's
We'll go back to that and fix that.
we'll jump into it right now. I'll ask the same question that I asked Nick last episode. Starting question:
Oof.
What is the difference between your generational skating down at the rink than the generation that you might see now? Like, what do you remember, and what do you now look at it as an adult?
That's an interesting question. I mean,
That's what we're here to do.
I feel like, whether it was him to my generation or my generation to younger, or even before him to his, there's always big differences. But, I mean, when I was a kid going down to the rink, it wasn't something like you had to go down there or that's the only thing to do. I mean, it was like I get to go to the rink. We had hockey down there. We had fun skates going on. There were different things going on. There used to be bounce houses back then.
We're at Bounce House
but-
on 44th.
I mean, it was a part of a culture too. I mean, you grew up there with so many different kids, and back then it used to be like things even like clean up at the rink. All the kids. I mean, I fought with the other kids. Who's gonna get to dust mop the floor? That was. I mean, if you got to dust mop the floor, you were cool.
You're the only one on the floor.
You look at the generation that's down there right now, and it's you ask one of the kids if they want to dust mop the floor, they look at you like you're crazy.
Or even roll the dice.
Roll the dice, yeah.
Like, we used to fight for rolling
Yeah.
the dice. Like, that
Yeah.
was like, that.
Yeah.
We used to come in at the beginning and say, hey, can I roll the dice? Oh, we'll see at that
Yeah.
time. Bro, it was, and he used to throw a fit. I know this guy knows CJ did, I can tell you that.
The attitude of these kids, it's like, oh well, I'm here because there's nothing better to do and whatnot. It wasn't like that when I was growing up down there. I mean, the kids were down there because they wanted to be, because that's what they chose to go do. That was their top pick. I don't feel like there's much of that anymore. It's unfortunate, but that's what you guys are here to do, is change that back to the way it was.
Damn right we are. So, but yeah, so back to this, you grew up down at the rink. Were you by yourself? How, like, what made you go down to the rink?
What brought you?
So, it goes back to before I was born. So, my dad, he was like family to somebody that had been a manager down there since before she even knew him, who was really good friends with Bryce. And so he ended up working there later on and worked there for a while. And then my mom, before she even knew my dad, was skating at Robbie's.
If anybody knows, Robbie's is our outwater rink before the Merced rink, so.
Good call
And
back.
then
They fell in
Yeah.
love down at the skating rink.
well, it was actually after the skating rink at Denny's where she was a waitress, and then back to the rink. But
So your dad
Yeah.
pretty much grew down at the rink then.
from an older age, but I mean, he was there for a long time. You
Yeah.
know,
He also ran the hockey league that we had down there.
yeah.
So he
helped
ran
run
that for what, at least 10 years or so, at least.
Yeah.
You know, and so forth. And that cut into you being born and pretty much living down at the rink like the rest of the rink rats, you know. So, you have any crazy stories? You know,
Fondest memories. Fondest memories down at the rink. Crazy stories.
some good stories that you know that just is like, wow, you know, that was crazy.
I mean, I don't know how crazy is crazy. I mean,
Give me your best
I wouldn't
shot.
call them too crazy, but I mean, you know, there's fond memories. Absolutely. I mean, Bryce. I got a lot of good memories with Bryce as a kid. You know, I mean, even though, everybody's like, oh, Bryce is gonna yell at you, whatever. I mean, Bryce had his moments when, he was just there to be good to you, and he did a lot for you, the whole Fang story. I mean, how many kids my age remember that when they were little running around there before that? I mean, that's a huge thing you'll never forget.
Just so you know, Fang is an imaginary monster that my dad created to scare the kids down at the rink. So if they got into trouble, we were going to go down.
I think we stated that on our last podcast.
Well, we're still gonna clarify it so people just don't know.
You're becoming repetitive. You're
It's
at
all
that-
right.
You're not at that age yet, but
It is. Calm down over there.
okay.
Anyways, like I said, before I got interrupted,
It's aggressive.
okay, my dad was just always yelling about, we're going to go see Fang! Rah, rah, rah!
He's a character.
Yeah. And to this day, I mean, I'm 38 and he's been doing it longer than I've been alive, so.
He still
Fang,
does it
Fang,
with my kids.
Fang eats kids, I guess, so, yeah. Crazy stories.
Good stories. Yeah, it was just hanging out with everybody. I mean, we had some fun, did some stuff we shouldn't have done down there, and we got in trouble for it. We got screamed at for it. And I told you about this before. We had the Merced Hockey League going. I was real little. But I don't remember a whole lot from that. One of the things I remember is scoring my first goal. Nick here made a big deal, come running out on the floor. He grabbed the puck out of the net. He took it back. He ended up wrapping it, stick tape, took Sharpie, marked the date, my name on there, and gave it to me. So I mean, there's a lot of memories down there from being little. Probably some other stories I won't tell on camera, but
We'll save that for another time, Maybe when CJ's gone, then we might bring him back on and tell some crazy stories.
What does my involvement here now have to do with anything when I'm gone? What is the difference?
There is none, but it just
Exactly.
sounded good at the moment, okay?
Terrible one-liner there, bud.
Hey, it made me laugh. That's all that matters.
So growing up down at the rink, basically, you have all these people surrounding you, and obviously Nick creating a wonderful moment with you. Must be nice. Is there anything that
I think he's jealous.
we got into that last time? Is there anything that has like a lasting influence on you, or a specific person that had such a great influence on you to kind of push you along the line a little bit, or you still look back on and be like, hey, I remember when Nick did that. I should be able to do that with like my godson or my niece and nephew or whatever it may be at one point, hopefully.
I mean, I wouldn't say like necessarily one person is like, oh yeah, going back, this one person was the one who, made my time down there. I mean, it was a mixture. From the time I was little, I mean, there was Nick, I had CJ as my closest friend down there in the hockey league and stuff, growing up. I mean, Bryce, he treated me like family. We had Mike LeBranch back then.
Good old Mikey.
And he was good friends with my dad too. So I mean, even outside of the rink, I mean, he was somebody who was around that, it was just part of the life at the time. So. I mean, there was a whole lot of people, Tony DeBella, there was, just a lot of people, even playing for a while, Anthony DeBella, his son, he was just enough older than me that it was like, it's like, oh cool, he's talking to me, because he's older, he was just that much older, but I mean, it was everybody, everybody that was down there at the time, it was a culture,
Yeah.
So,
I know what you mean. Yeah, going to other rinks or other organizations that have to do with skating, there's that big family, culture around. I just went down to do speed nationals down over there in Maryland and all that stuff, and we're like one big happy family over there. Part of that association. Everybody's taking care of everybody. It's not just one person. There's 10 of them. You know what I'm saying? So I know the feeling of what it's like to have not just one person, but like they're not your blood family, but they're your rink family, and that's just as good as your blood family. So,
Or sometimes even better. Because I'll choose Curtis over a lot of my own family. Quite a few times.
we know that.
But hold
Just
on,
so you know,
I do want to get into
well,
your speed skating now.
No, hold on.
Okay.
Just to go back off of that, Curtis was never on the kill list, just so you know. But yeah, go ahead.
I feel like Curtis should have never been on, will ever be on your kill list.
Yeah, I know.
Curtis has never really done anything negative to you.
I know.
Nor has he ever put in that spot to do anything negative.
Yeah, I know.
I am on your kill list for your own personal vendetta against me.
Well, it's your fault. You were on my kill list for a reason.
What was the reason, Nick? Here we go again. We're getting right back into it.
Well, we don't need to repeat ourselves like you just said earlier, so we'll save that for another time.
I wanted to get into your speed skating.
What about it?
You seemed to have a really good time, and you were trying to tell me about it when you came back, but you were really busy. I was busy. Now we have this moment. Talk to me about it.
So
you want me to get into it with you. Sell me.
So part of our roller skating association is called the RSA. My dad's been a part of it for 30 plus years. I've been a part of it for about 6 or 7 years, going to conventions, and this organization.
Quick question. Can you explain what RSA means?
So it's the Roller Skating Association. That's our organization, takes care of roller rinks. So if you join the RSA, it's their organization that helps out skating rinks, entertainment places, anything that has to do with roller skating. Gives discounts or helps you out with getting your music license, roller skates, arcade games, you name it. In the industry, they have anything with it, and If you have any questions on it, you can always look them up at the rsa.com. They have a 1-800 number. We got a website, so check it out. But back to it, they had their own speed nationals, and the people that run it asked if I could live stream it. So I went out, flew out, live streamed about a 4 or 5 day event, and had a blast.
It looked like it off of your Instagram.
Yeah, it was.
And your Snapchat, you were having just
I was
the time
having
of your life.
well,
right there.
again, like part of that association, that it's like another family. Like I have my rink family here, and then I have another kind of like rink family in another state. You know, like people that I grew up with, and all that stuff, and their kids, and like I'm just like we're like one big happy family over there, like hanging out. It's just like after an event, it's like going to have dinner as a family. You know what I'm saying? Like we're just sitting there having a good old time. So I mean, I had a blast, and I can't wait for next year. Because we're gonna go out and live stream that event too. So
When you say we, is that like the we or is that the royal?
well, I mean, I'm hoping that I could take another person. CJ. But it's gonna be hard.
We'll get into that to another podcast.
Exactly.
We're here with our guest, Curtis. I have a question. Not many people know this. Well, I don't. People that know you will know this, but for our viewers there, you did do public school and then you did do homeschool, right? So I wanted to know, like, did being homeschooled shape you in a different way that public school did it, like, or should have, or a lot of people different. Like for me, I'm thinking about doing homeschool for my kids just because of the fact that he's in school for what's today? Today's Thursday as we're recording this. He's been in school for
2.5 weeks.
2.5 weeks now. His whole class has been completely dissolved, and he's been moved back to his kindergarten teacher, his preschool teacher, who's now going to start teaching kindergarten. And I'm like, he doesn't do good with change because he has a neurological disorder. But me and my wife have been talking about doing homeschooling. So I just want your intake, because now I'm at the age where I'm like, hey, I know someone that did homeschool. So inform me of this, please.
So, I mean, when it comes to that, I mean, I guess there's different types of homeschool.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I was in an online school is what it was.
Okay.
But I mean, in my opinion, from what I saw, what I experienced, what I saw other kids were experiencing on both sides of it, when it comes to public schools, it's hit or miss on the curricular, how they're going to teach and do. And the one thing that comes with public school, though, is social interactions, social activities. The schools are just going to give that to them. When it comes to homeschooling, online school, especially if you're starting the kids out younger, that's not just going to be, that social factor isn't just going to be handed to them.
Yeah.
So, I mean, ultimately, in my opinion, homeschooling, online schooling, they're going to get a better education, no doubt. But it's going to depend on the time you have to put into them, because you're not only going to have to help stay on top of them as far as staying on track, staying on courses, but you're going to have to make time to make sure you're getting them involved in a lot of social activity around that school schedule.
Oh, trust me, they get the social. They get the social activity.
I was, I was lucky enough, my parents owned their own business by that time. So, I mean, I was involved heavily with a nonprofit. I was still going down to the rink every single week. We were skating around the rink together, every
You
weekend.
started working at the rink too, right?
Yeah, started working at the rink. That was, yeah. Yeah, I had to stay after an afternoon session one time and let this guy over here just talk on the mic with nobody there so he could get comfortable with it because he still wasn't talking on the mic at the time.
Yeah, that was right around the time Robinson had his wonderful heart attack.
Yeah.
So had to step up or shut up, right?
Yeah.
But
Yes,
I
we
had a
did.
friend that was gonna help me get through it. What are you looking at? You look concerned over there. Are we not recording right now?
Yeah, we're live.
Okay, I'm
Look,
just making
we got
sure.
a viewer. Look at
I'm
that.
making sure
I got a
because
viewer.
I'm making sure because last time we had to fire
Oh,
our
might
tech
be.
guy. I don't want to have to fire another tech guy.
Well, hey, that's not my fault. You fired the first one.
But
Oh no, it was a real viewer up too.
So-
anyways, I was just wondering too because the rink provides school skate nights.
Yeah.
And you've had to work a couple of those. Do you ever feel like you kind of missed out on like having that school skate night experience? Even though that you did grow up down at the rink, you like didn't really get to be like, oh, I'm gonna go down on a school skate night and skate with my friends.
I mean, not really. To be honest, I did get to do school skates. But yeah, I mean, I feel like either way, there's a certain, when you're younger, I'll say that, when you're younger and you go to your school skate and you grow up down there, it's cool because everybody else is out there tripping and falling and, you know, you're the one out there doing circles around everybody else and that's like, oh yeah, look at me, you
You
know,
look
I'm
cool.
better than you know, I can skate, you know. You know, as a little kid, you know, that's a fun time. But I mean, now that I'm older, you know, I mean, if I missed out on a school skate, you know, I wasn't really missing out on anything because I was already there skating more than any of those people anyway. I mean, and so.
Nick, you got anything? You kind of just sitting over there pretty quiet. But-
No, I was just listening to him, you know, because growing up, I was that cool kid that can smoke everybody, and everyone's like, oh, you're that one kid that was like killing us and all, or during fast skate, you were going like 1,000 miles per hour, and I'm like, yeah, I was just going backwards though, bro, so just chillax. So, yeah, I was that guy.
Moving forward.
Yeah.
You mentioned helping out at a non-profit organization, the American Legion, which you are a big part of now, right?
So yeah, I've been, when I was 13, I joined a program of the American Legion called the Sons of the American Legion. So got involved at a young age down there, helping out, volunteering, just helping with programs they had going, and of course I ended up going into the Navy. Got out after that. Ended up joining the American Legion itself. Served as an officer down there, and you know, put in the volunteer work, but you know, trying to get some other people to step up, take their turn, and just be there for some support now.
I guess I'll continue this little one-on-one session here. So let's backtrack a little bit. You said now we got two mics. You said you joined the Navy. Why did you join the Navy instead of joining the Air Force? Like your dad did join the Air Force, right? So what made you pursue a Navy career instead of an Air Force career?
So that's actually kind of a good question. So
That's what I did.
I
I did my homework again, Nick.
I
to
know
be
you did.
honest, I thought about joining the military for a long time, and I thought about several different branches. You know,
Yeah.
to be honest, the Navy was not one of them I had thought about.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. So now I'm interested. What really intrigued you in joining the Navy?
So I was hanging out with a friend of mine,
Oh.
and he was
Oh.
wanting to. He was just trying to find anything in town to do, you know, that was different, you know. You know, something that was just available to go do. I worked an early morning job at the time.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't working. He was like, "What do we do in Merced all day?" You know. So he wanted to join one of the local gyms and just go hang out down there and give us something to do.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, I'd like to get in shape. At the time I was just over 400 pounds at the time. So I was big, yeah. So we joined, started doing that casually, whatever, and he just randomly decided I'm joining the military. So he asked me to drive him over to the recruiter station.
Just out of the blue?
So just out of the blue, and we were ringing the buzzers, and the only buzzer that answered was the Army. And they were like, oh, we'll have to make an appointment, whatever. And one of the guys next door in the Navy office was there, and he just thought, hey, I'll go talk to him.
I'll jump at this opportunity.
And we talked and stuff, and then we ended up talking to one of the trainers over at the gym that was kind of, just really nice to us and stuff, and he was telling us that he was in the Navy as well, and he'd gotten out, become a trainer and stuff. Was telling us about it, and so that kind of like decided it for him, he was going to join the Navy. And I thought, well, where's my life going right now? What am I going to do? So I thought, oh, why not? So we went over and we talked, and we were talking with the guy who was running the office, and my buddy that was going, he was already real fit, everything. So talking to him, and oh yeah, we'll get you signed up, whatever. When I kind of talked to him, it was more so like, obviously because of my weight, like kind of like he didn't want to take it seriously. So it was like, okay, whatever, but I kept pushing, and, he was trying to get some information, whatever. Well, then one of the other recruiters out of the office came in his uniform, and right off, we both recognized him, and he ended up recognizing us. He was at the gym working out all the time.
Mm-hmm.
We saw him there every single day. And so, we told him what we were there for, and the other recruiters kind of hinted at, oh yeah, he's talking about whatever, and the other recruiter that, we recognized, he was like, you can do it, you just keep going, and I already see you there, he was real positive, and it was just talking with him started that click of, okay, yeah, this feels right. And so, I started going to the gym, started taking it a lot more serious. Within like a year from that point, I had gotten down to like 225 pounds. And then within the next, however many months, I was down to like 189 pounds. Which is the lightest I've gotten to.
Impressive.
But I held on to that till I went in, but along the way it was great because Cy was his name. That was the recruiter that really motivated me. He'd be at the gym. He would, just sit there and like, he wasn't afraid to try to motivate me or, hey, try this, try that. He tried to be a friend, rather than just like, oh, make an appointment with me, I'm a recruiter. No, he like genuinely tried to
push you,
connect,
get you in that next gear to help you.
So yeah, and
well, shout out to Cy.
Did that.
That's an awesome guy.
Yeah,
he didn't have to, but he took it upon himself to be like, hey, I'm gonna motivate this kid. He wants a goal. He has a goal. I'm gonna get him there. Yeah. Well, obviously you're out, and so talk to me about the situation that brought you out of the Navy, because you're not in it no more. Where you discharged, honorably discharged. Dishonorably discharged.
No, it was under honorable circumstances.
Okay.
The classification falls under medical.
Okay.
Basically, some came up, a request for a waiver went up to the captain on base. He denied it, so without the waiver, it's nothing I could do. So, yeah, things don't always work out the way we planned, but, I wouldn't change anything. I'm proud that I did that.
You should be. You got to one of your healthiest points in your life.
I still got to go and have a decent amount of time. Got a great experience out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And good things come with it. I'll have health care for the rest of my life. VA system. If I chose to get a degree at some point, college, whatever, it would be paid for. So,
Mm-hmm.
can't complain there, but, I wouldn't take any of it back just because there was a hiccup in the road, because,
most definitely.
It changed a lot for me, and I'm still doing good, and, no matter what, that'll always be part of it.
Okay, well, take me through your mindset of getting this unfortunate hiccup news, there, boss. We cut deep here. So it's time to get a little bit deeper.
It sucked,
I'm gonna go to Nick on this one. Is that a
I'm not like emotional.
I'm not saying you gotta be emotional, but take me through your mindset.
What happened? Why were you honorably discharged? What was the medical reason?
In case you guys couldn't hear, Nick said, what happened? Why were you honorably discharged? What was the medical reason?
So, after going in, when they did further blood work, so for those of you that don't know, haven't been through the process, when you join, you go through a process called MEPS. They do some initial blood work on you, nothing too extensive, a basic medical check just to make sure, you're decently healthy, good to go, So when you actually get there and you get through processing, at the end of your processing days, or what they call P days, they go and they take a lot more blood work. There's a lot of processing that goes into it. So, went through all that. Things were in a lot of delays. When I went in, it was like just the beginning of COVID. So everything was screwed up on base. Everything was a mess. Everything were new protocols. Things got delayed. So, I was doing my thing for a while, Base was packed. People were getting done with basic, but they weren't going anywhere because they couldn't go to A school. They couldn't move on until there was a spot open for them in A school because the classes were down to minimal size. So they just got put up on base and they stayed there, for long periods of time for some of them, depending on what their rate was going to be. So that was a whole mess. But anyway, by the time they found out, by the time they notified me, then, they told me they could put a request for a waiver in. By the time that got processed, got denied, got back, it had been a while. I'm glad it took as long as it did. I wish it would have taken longer, to be honest, because it was actually, basic, it wasn't like loads of fun, but it really wasn't bad. You just do what you're told and you get fed 3 times a day. it's just not bad. And in the process of waiting for all the other afterwards, I mean, I just got to do whatever they needed me to do. Some of it sucked, some of it was work and watch, where as people come in, you gotta check their CAC, their common access card, which is basically a military ID. You know, you greet them, you greet them properly. Yeah, I mean,
What was your mindset like when you found out your news? Like, what'd you go through? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you found out, like, you're not going to be in the service no more.
to be honest, I don't think I had much of a mindset on it. I mean, from the time I got there till the time I left, it was a culture shock in certain ways, because I wasn't used to getting up bright and early in the morning and then going to sleep at whatever time at night, or especially towards the end there, certain watches I got scheduled for, they were whatever time in the morning till whatever time in the morning. So some nights you don't even get a night's sleep. You're doing so much constantly, just getting done with the basic part of things. You've taken so much input and have so much that just kind of went blank, or was kind of just pushed to the side, because you're trying to take in a whole world of knowledge, because everything's different. So, I mean, to be honest, I don't think there was much I really thought about. It was kind of like, just keep going, You're just waiting for your next orders. What are you going to do next, And I did, it wasn't until I came home and was home for a couple months, really, before it was kind of like,
It kicked in.
started like getting my mind back, like, oh yeah, this is everything, but I mean, because you're just different after that.
Well, I think everything happens for a reason, in a way. And it's shitty that you kind of got the short end of the stick with that. But now look at you. How old are you? 20, 24, 25? 25, running your own business, I mean, how many 25s do you know in the area running their own business? I don't know too many. I know one. His name is Curtis.
Yeah.
So, I mean, doing a 180 or a flip on you like that, I mean, it probably took a toll on you, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, it sucked, I kind of dove into, making that my life, my everything. Like I said, I don't regret any of it. I mean, I'm super proud that I joined the Navy. I'll be able to call myself